A phone call shattered his ordinary day. George Lawson, 73 and happily retired, was suddenly told the FBI was coming to arrest him for child pornography charges tied to his bank account. The accusation was terrifying. The voice sounded official, and every second that passed seemed to increase the danger. What followed was a carefully orchestrated scam that exploited fear, impersonated federal authority, and drained a lifetime of savings before George ever realized what was happening. This is Fraud in a Moment, and the truth starts now. The FBI Phantom: How a Terrified Senior Wired Away His Future. It began during what should have been a routine Zoom meeting. George Lawson, 73, was working from his home office, managing the nonprofit organization he had spent years building. Then, without warning, his wife burst into the room. She looked alarmed. She was clutching her phone, and the words she spoke instantly changed everything. "The FBI is on the phone." George took the call, and according to the agent, federal authorities had uncovered child pornography charges connected to one of George's bank accounts. His arrest was imminent. She warned him not to discuss the matter with anyone. Immediate action was required. George suddenly found himself facing one of the most horrifying accusations imaginable. His panic took hold before logic had a chance to catch up. He denied the allegations, of course, but the FBI agent remained calm, confident, and authoritative. She explained that the matter could be resolved through cooperation. To verify the suspicious activity, they needed access to the family's financial accounts. Then came the next step. She convinced George to allow her remote access to his computer. George's wife, Wilhelmina, who managed the family's finances, was then asked to log into their bank accounts while the agents guided them through the process. She checked the first account. Nothing. No suspicious transactions, no evidence of criminal activity. The caller immediately had an explanation. "You're looking in the wrong account." She checked another account. Again, nothing. Then another. Still nothing. What George and Wilhelmina failed to see was the search itself was part of the distraction. While they searched for evidence of a fake crime, a very real and quiet one was being committed. Wire transfers were being initiated in the background. Money was being moved from account to account. Funds were being transferred to another bank, then rapidly moved overseas. The operation was precise, professional, and devastatingly effective. By the time they understood what was really happening, most of their savings had already disappeared. They managed to stop a final $50,000 transfer just before it left the account. Everything else? Gone. But the story didn't begin with that phone call. In fact, warning signs had appeared earlier. Just weeks before, Wilhelmina had nearly fallen victim to a different scam involving a spoofed email that appeared to come from a trusted business partner. The message requested a wire transfer. Something felt wrong. So she picked up the phone, contacted her business partner directly, and discovered the request was fraudulent. The accounts were secured, passwords were changed, the immediate threat seemed over. What she didn't realize was that the scammers had likely learned valuable information during that earlier attempt. They had studied communication patterns, they had observed behavior, and they had identified vulnerabilities. When the email scam failed, they changed tactics. This time, they abandoned deception through technology and attacked through emotion. They impersonated one of the most powerful law enforcement agencies in the country. They created urgency, they manufactured panic, and they exploited a husband's instinct to protect himself and his family from a terrifying accusation. The scam succeeded because fear overwhelmed reason, making the creation of authority and urgency easy. The financial loss was enormous, but the emotional impact was equally painful. George and Wilhelmina faced the difficult reality that there would be no easy recovery, no simple reimbursement, and no way to reverse most of the transactions. Yet they refused to let the experience define them. They transformed a devastating loss into a determination never to be victimized again, because while the scammers stole money, they did not steal their resilience, and that may be the most important lesson of all. What did we learn from this story? 1. The FBI will never call demanding money or claiming criminal charges can be resolved through financial transactions. 2. Law enforcement agencies do not ask people to grant remote access to their computers. 3. Fear and urgency are among the most powerful weapons scammers use. 4. Never rely solely on a caller's claims. Independently verify by contacting the organization directly using a trusted phone number. 5. Wire transfers are extremely difficult to recover once completed. 6. Prior scam attempts may simply be reconnaissance for larger attacks later. 7. If something feels wrong, stop immediately and contact your bank before taking any action. A fake FBI agent, a terrifying accusation, and a senior citizen frightened into giving criminals access to a lifetime of savings. This scam worked because it combined authority, urgency, and fear into a powerful form of manipulation. Remember, no legitimate law enforcement agency will ever demand financial action to avoid arrest. This has been Fraud in a Moment, where we expose the schemes hiding in plain sight and give you the tools to protect what's yours. Until next time, stay alert, stay steady, and remember, when fear appears and danger sounds near, stop, verify, and keep your judgment clear.